Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Shadow Stitch, your coach of the Charlotte Chandelures, and we are back here for week 4 of the Prep Hub Draft League, where we're going to be taking on Godbear and the Chicago Phalanx. So we're definitely not starting off very strong this season, 0-3, but at least last week was only a 0-1 loss. So we definitely have quite the hill to climb, but I'm still feeling relatively confident. And we do have the changes that we made for last week being, the Bundle Boy and Banette. So feeling a lot more confident about the team since we made those transactions, and I think that they're definitely going to come in handy here for this matchup as we bring it up. So the Godbear, I don't think I've ever fought Godbear, which is pretty neat. Know that we've been in multiple other leagues before, and just never ran into each other. So it happens. Correct me if I'm wrong, Godbear. I don't remember. I'm sorry. But they have quite the team. So of course the Forerunners there at the top. You see the Quaquaval, you see the Dragonite, both crazy good Pokemon that can set up and snowball really fast and really hard. And just do tons of damage to my team. So definitely got to keep those guys in mind. So Sylveon, Clodsire, Registeel, Colossal, even something like the Vikavolt and Brute Bonnet, all pretty bulky Pokemon that can at least take one hit, can set up some hazards. I'm not really expecting webs this week because, most of my team doesn't really care that much about webs. I can always run Boots on like Bundle to outspeed everything still. And, I even have, like, my Lodic that you don't really want to trigger the competitive on. So, however, this is a very good team, but it is a little slow. They only top out at 110 max base speed with Zoroark Hisui. So, I'm actually in a pretty dang good situation here, actually getting the pretty big speed advantage, which is nice. So, very cool team. Definitely two massive threats at the top there. So let's go ahead and hop into what I'm bringing to combat it. First up, we got a Citrus Berry Swords Dance Infernape. So if you look at the team right there, Flare Blitz and Close Combat pretty much plow through everything on that team that's not specifically named Dragonite. So, and that's why we have U-Turn. So we can easily just U-Turn right on out of the Dragonite and just break the multi-scale, go into something else that can handle it better, and then come back in and just run the fade yet again with the Flare Blitz and the Close Combat. If we get an opportunity to set up Swords Dance, we can just pretty much delete any one Pokemon on the team. We'll have to watch out for some Resist Berries, especially on, like, I'm expecting maybe Registeel to have either Aqua or Chople if it comes. So we'll have to suss that out a little bit, but that's okay. So overall, really powerful Pokemon here. Just have to keep the Dragonite under control. And of course, we do have one of the best mons for that in our Milotic. So I did mention it a little bit already, but we are bringing competitive just in case there are some webs, but I'm not really expecting them. Leftovers here just for good recovery, a mixed EV spread just to try to take on a lot of different things. Scald, the setup sweepers don't really want to be coming in on a potential Scald Burn, and Alluring Voice is great because it hits both of them super effectively, and they can't effectively set up on me because then they have to risk the confusion. So they can't bulk up, they can't Dragon Dance, they can't even Aqua Step, which is pretty cool. So Triple Axle hits Dragonite insanely hard, of course, with that 4x weakness, and it actually is our best option into Clodsire. And then, of course, Recover is Recover. And Skarmory has to make an appearance. You see a lot of good, strong physical attackers. Skarmory's gonna be here. So Rocky Helmet, as per usual. Brave Bird and Drill Run, of course, does have the Colossal to potentially spin. Even if it's fully physically defensive, it doesn't even do that much. It's crazy. That Pokemon is insanely good on the physically defensive side, at least. So Roost is good, and Stealth Rocks is actually really important in this matchup, so I can try to suss out that Zoroark. So he chooses to bring in the Clodsire, the Quaquaval, the Registeel, anything like that, disguises the Zoroark. I can tell based on the Stealth Rock's damage, and of course, remember, Item Clause, there's only one Boots, and Dragonite, you know, maybe Vikavolt. It's pretty important to have that there. So Rocks, obviously great for breaking a potential multi-scale, but also really good utility across the board. Slowking is our special coverage as per usual. Psychic Noise is actually great into the Clodsire because it can't recover. It's not going to be able to use even Black Sludge to recover, which is really cool. Flamethrower is good into like hitting the Registeel, and Acid Spray is fantastic to take care of switches. Then we can Chilly Reception out into one of our other attackers, which is really cool. Cassib Berry, obviously, to take advantage of that Hisuian Zoroark. We can't really do anything much back to it other than maybe hit it with like Psychic Noise for a little bit of damage, but it's mostly just to suss out where the Zoroark is, if it's disguised, and take the hit and Chilly Reception out, and then we're good to go. So, yeah, Zoroark is still very scary in this matchup, so we're going to have to keep that in mind. And of course, the best recipient of that snow boost and, you know, all that fun stuff is going to be Iron Bundle. So with our speed investment, we can actually outspeed a +1 Adamant, Quaquaval, or Dragonite, which is pretty crazy good. And that's why we got Encore. So if we choose to come in on them potentially trying to go for Aqua Step or a Dragon Dance, we can Encore them into that, and then they just give us free turns to do whatever we want, which is cool. So Hydro Pump obviously is great. We do have to be a little careful if the Clodsire is still around. I'm fully expecting that to be Water Absorb, and that's why we're rocking U-Turn. And of course, Freeze Dry is fantastic. So Boots, of course, I'm expecting maybe a lot of hazards here. Again, not really expecting webs, but I don't want to be whittled down by rocks and spikes. And last but not least, the final member of the team that has not made an appearance yet, it is going to be the boy Banette. So we're rocking Frisk this week. Frisk, of course, also really good to help suss out the Zoroark. We see something that is disguised. We could probably tell based on the item if it is potentially a Zoroark or not. Not a perfect science, but you get the picture. So Lumberry is actually really nice to potentially switch in on a Colossal. We don't really do that much to it, but then we don't run the risk of getting burned for like a Will-O-Wisp or something like that, which is nice. We can potentially switch in on a Spore. It's not the best situation, but you know, it's there. And then Poltergeist, Gunk Shot, and Sucker Punch is pretty much all we need. Banette still hits really freaking hard. Poltergeist does a ton of damage and cannot be switched into super easily, especially because we outspeed the checks to that, and we can hit like Sylveon or Brute Bonnet with a Gunk Shot. And of course, we do have to have Sucker Punch because we can't hit the Zoroark otherwise. Substitute is good to take advantage of switches, and we are running just enough bulk to barely live a few hits. So very cool to finally bring Banette onto the squad. And there you have it. So I know we went a little long with this one. Man, I keep getting longer and longer on these, don't I? But that's okay. A lot going on this week. Very scary team, and I'm looking forward to this one. Like I said, we have quite the hill to climb, but I do think that now we have the team to climb it. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too, and I hope you guys enjoy the battle. Hey, how's it going? It's me, Postcom Shadow Stitch, yet again. Sorry about that. So, this time, my recording was working, and my mic was hooked up, and all that fun stuff, but it was the wrong source in OBS, so hooray. But enough about all that. Let's just get right down into it. So, see the team that Godbear chose to bring. Of course, the two biggest threats are going to be the Quaquaval and the Dragonite. Really big, strong setup things. Vikavolt, I really didn't have much to deal with it. Like, I knew it was a good chance to come. I'm not really expecting webs, like I said in the team preview. But, like, Crocodile was just not very good here in this matchup. So, it just kind of gets some free Volt Switch wherever it wants. So Clodsire could come, just set up hazards. Sylveon's there, and Hisuian Zoroark is going to be very important for me to figure out what it is and stuff like that. So could see a Vikavolt lead, could see a Clodsire lead. Zoroark lead obviously is pretty common. So I'm just going to lead right off with Infernape. It's kind of like the dedicated lead on this team anyway. And we're just going to click freaking Flare Blitz and go ham. So let's go ahead and just get right on into this game. So yeah, Zoroark, Clodsire, Vikavolt chooses to lead Dragonite. We just U-turn out and break the multi-scale, and that's good. But yeah, overall not too shabby. So let's go ahead and just get right on into this game right here. Let's go, Godbear. Yeah, I think this is the first time I fought Godbear. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong though. But we see Plushie leading. That's going to be the Clodsire, and we're leading off with the Infernape. So if this is a Clodsire, it's probably just going to set up like rocks or spikes or something like that. I'm not really thinking he's going to overprotect. If it is a Zoroark, there's a possibility we can outspeed it, but I'm doubting it. But chooses to stay in, and it is indeed the Clodsire. We get a very lucky turn 1 burn, which is pretty nice. Definitely opens up different routes of play for us, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Plushie took a ton of damage there. The burn, of course, counteracting those leftovers. And I'm just going to go ahead and go straight for a U-turn, kind of expecting him to want to preserve this Clodsire. I'm not really expecting him to want to take that much damage on a pretty important defensive piece. So I'm expecting a switch here, but he chooses to stay in. We do have plenty of things in the back that can kind of handle this, and we're going to go ahead and go for the U-turn. Chooses to stay in, and that's perfectly fine with me. So it is burn, so I'm expecting maybe Slowking can kind of handle it, but I really want to get my rocks up. Rocks are very important to me in this matchup, not only to break potential focus sashes, to break the multi-scale on Dragonite, if it's not boots, but also to find that Zoroark. So I'm going to get my rocks up. I don't really care what it's going to do here. It can set up more hazards. Chooses to go for Yawn right here. So we've seen 3 moves on it because we did come in on the Earthquake. So I'm expecting Recover in the last slot potentially, which means that Skarmory pretty much completely blanks this thing. But, you know, I do have some other things in the back, and with the burn, Glowking is a relatively safe switch in right here, so that's pretty cool for me. So Glowking comes in. Don't want to be put to sleep on Skarmory. It's very important, and it chooses to set up Spikes. So we know this thing's entire moveset. Spikes are not great. Of course, I have no hazard control on this squad, but that's okay. So we're going to be able to manage. We do have the Psychic Noise. So depending on how the speeds work out, I honestly don't remember how my IVs were if I tried to underspeed this Clodsire or not. I don't remember because I'm guessing I did. But Psychic Noise is going to come out with the burn damage. That is going to be enough to knock it out. And there's only 2 layers of spikes on the field, which, you know, is as best as I can get probably at this point. So there is that. So very, very nice. And John Cena comes in, and it's undisguised Zoroark. So a little unfortunate that he didn't disguise his Zoroark right there. So yeah, that's neat. So we're going to chilly reception on out here. That's why we got the Kasib Berry. We get to see the Shadow Ball come off and just take a mountain of damage. So we're able to calc it here as we chilly reception out, and I find out that this is Choice Specs Modest Zoroark, which is definitely not what I was expecting. I honestly thought Modest Zoroark was a little bit of a throw, considering that I could have brought Ape to outspeed it and just kind of delete it with like a strong Flare Blitz or something like that, or even like knockoff. Save gets knockoff now. There's a chance my Ape can outspeed it, but I think that probably the better play is to go into the boy Banette, and I'm just calcing here and figuring out what my course of action is, and I'm going to go into that Banette. I take a ton of damage from the hazards. Sure, only 1 Boots makes hazards so strong in this, and we do, of course, see the Choice Specs with that Frisk, and I'm going to go ahead and click that Sucker Punch. So Obviously could have probably overthought this a little bit, tried to read a switch, but, you know, I'm glad that I didn't. I'm just going to go for the Sucker Punch, and we're going to knock that Zoroark out. Massive threat off the board for us, which is fantastic. We did not have the best switch-ins to a Choice Spec Zoroark on this team, so there's that. So Dragonite comes in, we see no boots on it, which is great, so I'm kind of expecting maybe like Yachi or something like that, but we'll be able to find out with this Poltergeist as it sets up a Dragon Dance. And there we go, Poltergeist. We see a Mental Herb, great prep, actually freaking amazing prep, and I'm just like, you can't extreme speed me. I'm just gonna click Sucker Punch. Yeah, if it roosts, then cool. If not, whatever. I'm just gonna do that. And Big Banette taking 2 kills, baby. And one of them on that Dragonite, which is awesome. So, yeah, the Duck comes in here. Again, I'm relatively bulky. I have a decent amount of bulk in me, so I can take any neutral hits, just like I could with the Dragonite. So I'm going to stay in and Poltergeist as it sets up a sub, and I get to see the leftovers. So I'm kind of thinking maybe like a sub bulk up, maybe sub Swords Dance kind of Quaquaval going on here. I did think Quaquaval kind of had 4 moveslot syndrome a little bit in this matchup. So I'm going to go ahead and make that switch into my Lodic, because I of course have the perfect answer to a sub Quaquaval set. We do take a ton of damage from that, but we see an Aqua Step coming out here, not going to do too terribly much to my Lodic, and it raises its speed and all that fun stuff. So even if it tries to set up a substitute, we are good because we of course have that alluring voice. So yep, we're going to go ahead and just lock right on into it. Sets up a substitute, but we're able to hit right through it. Of course, those sound-based moves hitting through the substitute and get very close to knocking it out. So, yeah, at the health that I'm at now, I should be able to live a close combat relatively okay. It's not going to do... I'm not going to appreciate the hit, but I should be able to take it. And there's the Aqua Step coming out, so probably didn't have much else. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't have close combat, but that doesn't really matter. We're able to Alluring Voice, kill that through the substitute, which is fantastic. It's very nice. So we see you come in here. That's the Vigavolt. We see that is where the boots are at, so it didn't take that rocks damage. And we see it actually is running a considerable amount of speed. So I know I'm a minus speed nature, but it actually still had to run a decent amount of speed to outspeed me. But yeah, that's pretty cool. We're gonna run a Scald onto this and do a okay amount of damage. Based on that damage, definitely kind of leaning more towards a especially defensive kind of Sylveon, which is cool. I choose to go just for an Alluring Voice, just in case it's like a little bit faster than me. Again, a minus speed nature, so it's a possibility. And we just end up just dropping to that, which is fine because I just wanted a nice free safe switch into the boy Banette, because of course we got the Gunk Shot, and we see a Citrus Berry with the Frisk. Very interesting. So Gunk Shot comes out and we miss. Unfortunate, but it just sets up a wish, and that's okay. So it's not the end of the world. So Substitute is going to be completely useless here, of course. It has Hyper Voice. It's going to be able to kill us through anyway, so we might as well just try to go for another Gunk Shot, just in case he tries to mind game us, not going for Protect. But yeah, so there's that. Get to go ahead and heal all the way back up with that Wish Protect combo. And I'm going to go to just lock into that Gunk Shot again. Probably not going to get the one shot, but we miss again. It's okay, though, Banette. You did great. You knocked out a Zoroark. You knocked out a Dragonite. 2 massive threats. And I think we have what we need in the back to win this game. So we have Infernape going to come in, take a ton of hazards. But, of course, we have that Citrus Berry putting us into the right range. And I think right now, I'm running the calc, I can take a Hyper Voice, so I'm thinking about setting up that Swords Dance. Of course, we don't one-shot with a just pure Flare Blitz, but with that Swords Dance boost, and we're going to be able to live this Hyper Voice, as we're going to see. And now we are in Blaze. At bare minimum, I ran the calc. It does 131 minimum to a fully defensive Sylveon. So I'm looking at him like, okay, either this dies or your Vikavolt in the back dies. Make your choice. Of course, I will die to the recoil damage, but, you know, locking him down to just one Pokemon is plenty fine with me. So, Flare Blitz comes out, going to just absolutely obliterate that freaking Vikavolt into the Shadow Realm, and, of course, Infernape drops, but there is that. So, yeah. All we have left is 3 pieces, but for 1 Sylveon, I think we should be okay. So, we haven't seen one of the moves on it. So we've seen Wish, Protect, Hyper Voice, pretty standard stuff. So I don't really know what the last move could be, but I'm just going to go ahead and lock him down with a Psychic Noise right here, so we can stop that Wish, Protect shenanigans, and we see Yawn is the final move, which is perfectly fine with me. I can take a Hyper Voice very easily and then just get on out of here with a chilly reception. Don't want to be put to sleep still, and I can go into the bundle, so that's pretty cool. So it's locked away from healing. We can definitely take at least 1 hit from a defensive Sylveon, and we switch into bundle. And I learned something right here, because as you can see, it's no longer prevented from healing. So yeah, I didn't know that about Hyper Voice or Psychic Noise. I'm assuming it works the same way as Heal Block did back in the day. But I didn't know that you require the user to stay on the field to prevent the healing, which is super odd, because there's like no other effect. Like even Encore right here, like I would assume it would be a similar effect to Encore, where like the user doesn't have to stay on the field, right? But so I learned something, and I'm able to Encore them in stuff like that, which is cool. Waste these wishes and stuff like that. But I do have a significantly better play than staying in here and continuously wasting all my Encores and all of his wishes and protects and stuff like that. So I'm going to spare you guys a little bit of my stupidity, and we're going to skip ahead a little bit. I switched into the Slowking while it was Encored into Protect, and I'm going to hit that Acid Spray. Yeah, I had Acid Spray this entire freaking time. I should have just switched into Glow King a lot sooner while it was locked into an early Encore, and I can easily take Hyper Voice. I don't care about getting Yawned, because I can always just chilly out, and I can just fire off an Acid Spray, get it to -2 special defense, and now I can chilly right on out of there back into the bundle, and we're perfectly fine. Protect is great. That pretty much seals this thing's fate. Because of course I can chilly out, I can go into the bundle, I can just be even extra safe just in case, Encore him into that Protect, and then at -2, based on the damage we were seeing earlier, Freeze Dry should be able to finish this game off, which is pretty nice. So yeah, look at that. We're on the board, ladies and gentlemen. So despite my little stupidity, so I am sorry about that to Godbear specifically. I definitely should have paid more attention and gone for that play a lot earlier. But it is what it is. But with one final Freeze Dry, we are able to finally put ourselves on the board, and the bundle boys are back. So let's friggin' go. So yeah, good stuff to Godbear. We're finally able to claim a win. And yeah, the long climb has started to rise back up. And pretty decent differential too. 3-0's not massive, but it's still pretty dang solid. So, but yeah, that's pretty much about it. Thank you all so much for stopping by. GG's to Godbear. GG's to the little bundle boy. And it's okay, Banette. You still earned that thumbnail, buddy. You did great work. So, but yeah, thank you all so much for stopping by. Like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. I love you all. Deuces.